Today we're going to have a look at a Kellenberger. This is a model 600U. The 600 is the size of the table between center grinding. They also make a 1000 and a 1500U. But this is the 600. The universal machine has a swiveling wheel head. I can loosen these two clamps on the top and I can rotate this wheel head so that we can do face grinding with this side wheel spindle here, which we do include in the package of tooling. Or I can spin the head around 180 degrees, and in the back here there's an internal grinding spindle run off of the same motor which is mounted inside this housing. In order to spin that around, though, you would need to take the tailstock off and probably this dresser off here because it would hit it. And when you're ID grinding, you don't need to use the tailstock. So anyway, we have here a micrometer adjustment here and a dial indicator for your to get the taper out of your part and set tapers. The machine controls are all on this operator's panel. The electrics are inside of here, and the machine is currently wired for 480 volts. 440 volts would be fine anywhere in that area there. The tailstock and the headstock currently have a Morse taper number 3 center in there. The bore of the headstock is actually a Morse taper number 5. This is a reduction sleeve, so you can take this out and you can put, we have a big magnetic chuck that goes in here that's held in there by the Morse taper 5 taper, and a big drawbar that pulls it in from the back. This has a factory installed sine bar mounted on the headstock, and we have a paper band coolant system which has a float system which, when it fills up with grinding swath and causes the float to rise, it will advance the paper so that the water can go down through the clean paper. This Kellenberger, universal Kellenbergers, also had a means of raising and lowering this wheel head. Now obviously if you were to take the riser block off, you'd have to be able to get this down, and so you can crank this down, but that's not really what it's for. It was made actually so that you could rotate this head so your small wheel would be here and you could actually do a type of surface grinding. So there you have that. Here's your two hand wheels for your INFEED and for your longitudinal. Now this machine on the side here has a lever where we could put this in fine feed or coarse feed when we're moving the table. Same with the INFEED hand wheel. If you're turning this in by hand, if you pull this out like that, you've got a coarse feed for positioning. And of course you'd want to have it in for grinding. Your controls up here, different modes. You have plunge grinding, you have manual where you can turn the hand wheel by hand to grind, and you have traverse grinding where you could feed on the left side and the right side, or on both sides at the bottom position here. You have dwells for left and right. You have your table speed. You have your table reversal lever here. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up. This is your jog for your work head. This would be how you adjust the amount of spark out time on the cycle. This is your main lever to start and stop the cycle. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up. Start the hydraulics. Start the spindle. So I'm going to show it to you first in a plunge grinding mode, meaning we're not going to use the table. So when I bring this lever over, we're going to start rotating our head. We're going to come forward. We're going to feed down to 0. Actually, we're going to feed down to the changeover point from coarse feed to fine feed. And then we're going to retract. Now this machine is equipped and wired so that you could also use a control gauge or a Movomatic or a Marpost type in-process gauge to control your parts. Here you've got a little swing back dresser with a micrometer adjustment to move your diamond in and out. So if you were to start your table going here, you could use this just to dress your wheel and then move it out of your way and go on working. I don't have this bolted down at the moment. So that's your plunge grind. We get to 0, it sparks out. This has a fine adjustment here if you needed to make a fine adjustment on size. And when we want to go to longitudinal type grinding, I've got to have my table on and start this up now. And you'll see each time we reverse, we feed a little bit. Now the amount that feeds, I adjust from here. I can make that a large step. which is taking off like 10 thousandths a pass now, or bring it down to a itty bitty little pass. There's a lot of tooling with the machine. There's different pulleys, some different accessories that mount on the table for mounting your diamond. There's a balancing arbor. There's a tool to remove the 2 different types of grinding wheels, drive dogs, different pulleys. Here's your chuck with a Morse taper 5. There's an additional wheel hub, so you can have an additional wheel hub on the machine. Here's a small wheel for the face grinding. And I think we've pretty much covered everything. If we walk over here, we can see the internal grinding spindle mounted back here on the side of the machine. Now this is a Fortuna grinding spindle. Your electrics are here. I think we've covered everything. It's a very nice machine, very quiet, very high precision. As you see, we're feeding along, working our way down to 0. It's going to go into a finer feed rate. Now these levers here allow me this one to lock the hand wheel in a certain position so it won't move, so nobody can move it. And this lever here allows me to stop the feed in the middle of the cycle if I want, to retract the headstock and make measurements and then come back in without having lost this position. And it also has a rapid movement, so I can go right down to 0 with it. So there you have it, the KELLENBERGER 600U. Thank you very much.